Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth quite a while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. Something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Welcome to Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Marena McGregor, your Director of Religious Education. Both of our ministers are away this weekend getting some much needed vacation. So I will be leading your service this Sunday, and we are so glad that you are here. We gather on Sunday mornings, some of us as regulars and some of us as first-timers, as we practice together the kind of world we believe is possible. As Unitarian Universalists, we may not all be worshiping the same way, or perhaps we find ourselves reluctant to use the word worship at all. I believe that we as UUs are here to explore the possibility of humanity and to be in community with one another. For those of you who are online, please join our virtual coffee hour, which is held for 15 minutes after the service, to say hello. If you're visiting, we hope you will sign a visitor card virtually, or if you're in person, at the Rainbow Table in Borton Hall after service. For those of you who need a listening ear, we have pastoral listeners on campus. You can find them near the water column during the offertory. We are a busy congregation living out our mission and our UU values. On Saturday and Sunday, August 1st and 2nd, we will be hosting the Firefly Conference on our campus as a group of trans activists and healthcare providers welcome families of trans youth for a weekend of fun, gender-affirming haircuts, and a wonderful exchange of information supporting our trans siblings as they become the people that they are meant to be. And speaking of becoming, today, at the request of the UUA's Youth and Young Adult Office, we are piloting a service that honors firsts. These might be life changes, milestones, or new beginnings, and one of our Unitarian Universalist values is transformation, and all transformation begins with a first step. This celebration gives us an opportunity to support and uplift the members of our community experiencing transition and change. It is a gift to collectively witness each individual's sacred path throughout their life. Thank you for joining us this morning, and welcome to our celebration of firsts.
Good morning. I am Linda Russell. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am a member of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to our service. We begin our service by reading our mission statement. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. So we want you to be a part of us. So if you're here with us in person, please feel free to join us in Borton Hall after the service to meet folks you know and those who you want to meet. We also have an online coffee hour right after the service. Want to remind folks that the church and the office is closed as of the date up there said tomorrow, but Marena said when she locks the door today, that's it. So for a week, the church and the office will be closed. We have much happening in this congregation, so please sign up for email blasts and our monthly newsletter, or you can visit us at MDUUC.org to see our calendar. Thank you for all of your participation in this community, and welcome. It's good to be together.
And now I'd like to invite you to turn to a neighbor and welcome them or greet them. Would you mind doing the chime? This chime, just like give it like 2 minutes and do the sound. But give it 2 minutes.
Chalice lighting today is The End is the Beginning by Katie Savani Gelfand. We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice. This spark of new beginnings invites us into a sacred space to reflect where we've been and where we are going. Even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing, we fear not its end, for we know with brave hearts that from every ending of our lives we are sent forth to make a new beginning.
So now it is time for all ages, and I wanted to invite anyone who is young or young at heart to come up for this time for all ages. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today is all about firsts and new experiences, and I have a few questions to start us off. Raise your hand if you remember your first day of school. This could be this year, or maybe even your first day. Do you remember how you felt that day? Were you nervous, excited, a little bit of both? If anyone wants to share, raise your hand. You want to share? Very nervous. Anyone else want to share how they felt? Cadence? Scared because your mom was gone? That's very valid. I remember feeling that way the first time I came to church and did, youth and religious education. Doing new things can be scary sometimes. Even if you're really excited, you might still be a little nervous too. Has anyone here ever heard of a worry stone? Yeah? What is a worry stone? Does anyone want to share?
Generally, it's a rock or something sentimental you can put in your pocket and fidget with when you feel anxious or worried, obviously.
Yes, exactly. A worry stone is a smooth stone that feels good in your hand, and when you're feeling worried, like Peyton said, you can rub your thumb over the stone to help calm your body and your brain down. Today, instead of worry stones, we're going to make courage stones. So first, let's all get a stone, and you can choose your stone, and then I'll explain a little bit more. So if we want people to come up, and you can pick out a stone. Okay. When you get your stone, hold it in your hand. How does it feel? Is it bumpy, smooth, rough? What shape is it? Feel how your stone starts to warm up. When you first got it, it was probably a little cold, right? Does anyone know why the stone warms up as we hold it? Does anyone know?
Because your hand's hot.
Exactly. And as we touch the stone and fidget with it, we have this really cool ability to give some of ourselves to the stone, some of our body warmth. And as the stone holds onto it for a while, right? It holds onto the body heat and the love that we give it. And if you put your stone down, it'll take some time for it to cool back down. Now to make our courage stones, we're going to give some courage to the stone, just like we give it our warmth. Then it can hold on to that courage for us. And the next time you're trying something new that might feel a little scary, you can keep the stone in your pocket, hold it in your hand, and let it give that courage back to you. So here's how we're going to do it. Hold your stone right up close to your mouth so you can whisper to it. We're going to speak some courage to them. You ready? Repeat after me and whisper it to your stone. I am brave even when I am scared. I never have to be perfect. I am curious about the world. I can always try something new. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone. These stones are yours to keep. You can add more courage, say different words, whatever you need to feel brave. And now I'd like to invite you to join us in singing our children and youth to their activities.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name's Ronan Braun. I'm a teacher, but in 2019, I was a recent college grad, not sure what I was going to do. My dad said I had to get a job, and the first one I interviewed for was at Target. I took that job, and it was good. It was good to earn money. But then the pandemic hit, and the job became kind of stressful. I continued to work with Ari here at church and had the opportunity to be the lead summer teacher for the outdoor gardening-based curriculum in 2020. Of course, it had to be outside during 2020, right? Some years before, I had begun working with the young people in RE, mentored by Marena, who's continued to be a great influence in my life. And stocking shelves at Target was not easy for me, and eventually I was trying to figure out what I could do next. I thought I was trying to get a teaching credential. As you know, I had a history degree, and started to learn about how I could do that. So that's what I went to go do. I joined the teaching credential program at Cal State East Bay to be a history teacher and spent that summer of 2021 taking classes in theory on how to be a teacher. But at the end of the summer, my placement in the school was delayed by the placement coordinator, and I started reaching out to my mentor teacher at this other high school saying, hey, would you be willing to be my mentor teacher? He said yes, but the next day I got an official email from the placement coordinator saying, we're just putting you at this continuation high school that I didn't know anything about. And I was a little puzzled and a little scared, but I was like, okay, I gotta do it. So I did. I arrived at the school in a pretty rough area and introduced myself to my mentor teacher and the principal. It was quite professional. I didn't really know how to interact in this professional environment yet. I began observing my new mentor teacher at the school and how she taught. An observation the first few days I just observed. Observation the first few days felt awkward. The students, they were looking at me. They were puzzled why I was there, reasonably. And I explained to a few, but they didn't really understand why I was there. I could tell many of the students didn't want to be there at this continuation high school, but many felt they had to be there, or an authority like their grandma was forcing them to be there for their own good. Yeah. My mentor teacher soon had me greeting the students at the door and learning their names. And it was quite difficult to introduce myself as Mr. Braun. I wasn't used to introducing myself as Mr. Braun at all to anybody. And I would accidentally tell the students my first name a lot of the time, which I get laughed at about, because they're not used to teachers telling them their first name, right? And then reminding me to only have the students know my last name, the mentor teacher did, of course. Also, it took me days to remember all the students' names. It was difficult. I'd call a student the wrong name or not remember their name, even though they'd already told me 2 or 3 times, and they'd kind of feel bad, but then they'd tell me their name again, thankfully. The first part of the job my mentor teacher had me learn was attendance. Logistics and organization have always been an area of growth for me. It's never come easy to me. And so this was quite difficult and sometimes anxiety-inducing, right? Specifically learning all the students' names and faces, and especially with COVID, all the students had masks on, including myself, right? It was the first semester back from COVID in 2021. And some even had full face or ski masks at the high school I was on, which obscured their face entirely, which the school allowed. Yeah. I also had a mask on, of course, which made it more difficult to teach. I fumbled over the attendance a lot and took too long, which annoyed my mentor teacher and the students on occasion. But I slowly got better, and I really got better at just letting go and being okay with making occasional mistakes and forgiving myself for them. Soon my mentor teacher had me teaching one of the classes in the day, and I would make mistake after mistake, not be able to keep the students' attention, confuse the students accidentally, and do things that seemed like common sense but seemed totally foolish from my mentor teacher and the students' perspective. They seemed reasonable to me, not to them. It was a difficult time and a difficult experience, really, full of fear, frustration, and misunderstanding. But it was also great amounts of growth that I had through this adversity. What I began to understand is the student's perspective on this class. It was an arduous task. Many were in a place they didn't like, where they didn't want to be, that they felt compelled or forced to do by themselves to get a high school diploma, or were there because an authority was making them be there. What I realized is that most of these students had a negative school experience radically different than the one I had as a student. They did not see the point or value in learning world history, government, or economics. That was the 3 classes I was teaching. And most are focused on their day-to-day survival, on just how to help pay rent, get groceries, and just make it home safely, honestly. I realized that my troubles in getting my teacher credential were really nothing compared to what most of my students were experiencing on a day-to-day basis. And that apathy many had was just because it didn't make sense from their perspective to care so much beyond just getting through the class. Once I understood their perspective better, it helped me immensely in creating and teaching lessons. I went from teaching things that I expected would work to what actually worked and actually helped the students learn. And slowly through adversity, I could tell they were learning more and more. There were days that I felt it was working. I was teaching a little bit, finally. And then the next day, it felt pointless, as if nothing that I tried to teach helped the students learn at all. And what helped me the most is when the students became a little more comfortable with me, and I with them. And they began to be interested in me and ask, why was I there? Did I choose to be there? I told them no, my program had placed me at their school with no choice on my end, and I was not there trying to save them or be a savior in any way, and I was just getting my teaching credential. I explained to a few that I had to learn how to teach as a student teacher for a year before becoming a teacher. I noticed many students who were neutral or a bit wary of me became much more positive once I told them that. They really appreciated my honesty and authenticity about why I was there and that I hadn't chosen to be there because I thought I could save them at this continuation high school. The Cal State Teaching Credential Program had a specific supervisor that would come and observe me at these specific lessons at specific times. I remember my first one vividly. I was planning a government lesson on the specific kinds of governments in the world and the similarities and differences between them. What's a republic, democracy, dictatorship? What's the similarities? What's the differences? What countries have them? The lesson did not work well. I was so nervous being in front of this supervisor that I did not command the students' attention, and many of them did the work for the lesson with half effort or were confused because I was nervous. Around this time, I felt like I should quit, honestly, like it was getting really, really difficult for me. It was too much. I was losing hope and faith in myself that I could do this, and I found a quote from the author G.K. Chesterton that helped me immensely. The quote is, "Anything worth doing is worth doing badly." Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I felt like I was teaching badly, and I felt like a bad teacher. But some parts of me deep down realized it was worth doing, and this quote fueled me through the last half of the semester. About halfway through the semester, my mentor teacher told me to start fully teaching all 3 classes. This meant planning, teaching, and assessing for all 3 classes of world history, government, and economics. Realizing the difficulty of this task, I compromised with her and told her I would teach all of them, but I would only plan and find materials for the world history and economics. This was extraordinarily difficult and stressful, and my days were spent teaching, planning, eating, and sleeping. That's it. The students got to know me better, and they realized that I wasn't just there for my teaching credential, but to actually help teach them and care about them as people, ultimately. By the end of the semester, my credential supervisor told me that I progressed adequately and could move on to the next semester. For my last semester, I was placed at a different traditional high school. On the last day, the students wrote beautiful goodbye letters for me and put all of their names on it. Some of the students also hugged me. That day, I realized how valuable what I had done was and how they valued me as well, not just as students or a student teacher, but as a person. The lesson for me in this experience, and I think the universal lesson, is adversity is worth overcoming. Fear is worth moving through, and that fear can turn into love. And finally, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. And despite the difficulty, it was worth doing. Thanks. Come. Yeah. Come, let us worship.
British children's writer Eleanor Fijian wrote the words to this song to a 1900 Gaelic melody. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing, Morning Has Broken Together. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden's soft play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Good morning. My name is Casey Gardner. My pronouns are she and her and they and them. Before I say what I was planning to say, I just wanted to point out that this morning, all four of the young adults on this stage right now, we looked at each other and we went, oh man, it's all teachers here today. So they got the people who public speak for a living. But I think it's appropriate, considering that this is the young adult service, and I do think that a big part of moving from your young life into your adult life is realizing that you are not just the student, but also the teacher in many aspects. So I thought that that was very apropos. I'm also very grateful that I did not write about teaching this morning, because I think Ronan just about covered it. My first years teaching were also a beautiful disaster. So I am not going to talk about teaching this morning, but I am going to briefly open with talking about my first kiss. It is not spicy, I promise. My first kiss, I was sitting on the back of a pool table in the back of an ice cream shop, wait for it, with a boy. And no, it was not good. It was not someone I am particularly enthused to remember, and it was not the scenario I particularly hoped it would be. I was 13. I was on a date my friends had decided they were going to go with me on. And it was weird for a lot of reasons. We were next to a bathroom. And one of the reasons I would not fully understand until a little bit later. Putting it simply, I did not feel butterflies. It was not magical. A part of me wanted to run home and yell at whoever told me it would be. We so often romanticize beginnings like this. First words, first steps, first days of school, first loves, first car, first job, apartment, home, marriage, child, all of these things we dream about achieving and being in our lifetimes. College graduates, published authors, business owners, loving partners, leaders, community members, teachers, travelers, elders. But if I think back on most of my firsts, these are not stories of triumph, much like Ronan shared earlier. These are stories about newness and unfamiliarity, of awkwardness and going, oh man, what have I done? Because the reality is that firsts usually do not mean bests. They just mean firsts. For example, I can't tell the story of my first car without telling the story of my first car accident. The first day of school story is much more about expectations versus reality over how cute I thought my outfit was when I left in the morning, or how many friends I made. I did not make that many friends. My first job was fun, but it was hard, boring, uncomfortable, underpaid, probably way too much responsibility for a 16-year-old. My first solo vacation, this is a good one, I spent almost all of the money that I had in my bank account on that ticket, only to get scammed while I was there and show up at the airport minutes too late to catch my flight. I had to buy another plane ticket home. My first love, a roller coaster. My first school dance, a nightmare. My high school graduation, okay, I love that one. But it was a tiny community center with my graduating class of 12, because I also went to a weird alternative school. There were no caps and gowns, and the only picture I have of myself at that event is one where I have like my hands up like this and like my eyes are crossed. It's horrid. And I wasn't even like valedictorian or anything. We were just a weird school. Everybody made a speech. It was, yeah. My point is this. I think reaching milestones is supposed to feel very poetic. Proud, fated, perfect even. But in my experience, these are not always pedestals. At best, they are bookmarks. And at worst, they are downright disasters. I would even argue that instead of these moments defining chapters in our lives, they simply invite us into the next one, which is a place where usually we have no idea what is going on, and we're forced to be new again. First loves give way to first fights, sometimes first breakups. First jobs are the ones we eventually leave. First careers might not pan out. First homes means becoming first home buyers and first home owners, which some can't always make work. First marriages might not be the forever ones. First kids either show us why we do or do not want more. I don't have them, but I have them, if you know what I mean. This year I published my first book. When people ask me how it feels, my honest thought, and usually my response is, I am just so glad it's over. It was a lot of work. And sure, we can look back on these kinds of things with fondness. Like, the guy I had that kiss with, like, he's not in trouble. I don't think that he's a horrible person. It's a funny story, but I don't actually think it's about the things that have happened, those beginnings that are a measure of our lives. Rather, it's where they carry us, where we end up, where we are now. I could tell you my first word, or I could tell you the one I learned most recently. By the way, it's ululation, a high-pitched trilling sound that one usually makes at a celebration. I didn't know there was a word for it. My first college degree was a complete bust, but the one after proved and paved the way for a career that I adore. And I've had a lot of love since my first, but I gotta say, I definitely define myself more by the one that stayed. So I guess my point is this. Firsts are special. In many instances, they're a huge point of success, an opportunity to pat ourselves on the back. But I don't think they're all of what makes us who we are. If you don't ever own a home, what matters is not having to afford the maintenance. If you haven't found the right person to spend your life with, I bet you're also pretty happy you didn't end up with the wrong one. If you're between jobs, that's a great place to consider changing directions. If your dreams haven't all come true, maybe because you can't afford them yet, maybe they've been put on hold, at least it means you still have dreams. Honestly, I fear a life where I've done so much that I don't have the drive to do more. We have so much to do, even if it isn't what people notice, even if it isn't what they feel like we should be doing. So today, I invite you into the present, to the place where nothing is particularly special, but by that very definition, everything is. Thank you.
mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned, staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Oh, I break tradition, sometimes my tries are outside the lines. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way, no. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. Oh, rest is still unwritten. But wait, there's more. We now enter into our time of meditation, a moment of intentional silence and a space for us to reflect. As we do so, please remember the noises of life and small children are part of this silence. So take a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Witness the end of each breath and feel it flow into the beginning of the next. You began somewhere. You took your first breath, pulling life into your lungs. Your lifetime has been a series of new experiences. Every day you are born anew. Take this time to hold all of your past selves and the first steps that they took. Honor your courage to begin over and over and over to reach this moment. Each first you have experienced, and each one you have yet to experience, is sacred. Let us now take a moment of quiet together. May we never be afraid to try something new. May it be so.
Hi there. Morning. I'm Nancy Falk, and one of the members of your Board of Trustees. And this is my first time offering remarks as we call for the offering. Merce Cunningham was a legendary choreographer. Over his 70-year career, he created 180 repertory dances and more than 700 movement events. His company performed all over the world. Merce Cunningham encouraged his dancers to be bold when doing the essential work of performing his choreography. Merce Cunningham is also pretty well known for how he responded to one of his dancers one day at rehearsal. During a break, a dancer kept asking him questions about the movement, how to do it, what Merce wanted, how they should feel. At some point during the barrage of questions, Merce Cunningham famously replied, "Enough. The only way to do it is to do it." You can imagine what happened next. The dancers stopped talking, they danced. They stood up, they danced, they did it. I think of this often. I referenced it frequently when working with colleagues. My take, there's a time to talk, there's a time to ask questions, there's a time to debate, and then there's a time to decide. There's a time to act. There's a time to do. Because, as Merce famously said, the only way to do it is to do it. The work of this congregation doesn't happen on its own. People do the work of this congregation. You do the essential work of this congregation. People decide to do the work. People decide to support it. People decide to support each other. We provide the resources to do the essential work of this congregation. And so, I invite you to consider now if you can support the work of the congregation today. Because as Merce Cunningham says, the only way to do it is to do it. If ushers would please come forward, we'd be grateful. Thank you.
When the world was ending we talked about the places we'd never been. When the world was ending, we'd hold on to the past, 'cause it's all we thought that we would ever see. But then the sun came right back, and the birds sang as if nothing had happened. And it's all right, it's okay, we will get another day to begin again, to begin again, to begin again. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know that I will try to begin again, to begin again, to begin, to live and love and breathe again. When the world was ending, we looked up in the sky and we talked about the last song that we played. So far from comprehending, they'd lift us to the stars, never seen each other from so far away. But then the sun came right back, and the kids played as if nothing had happened. And it's all right, it's okay, we will get another day to begin again, to begin again, to begin again. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know that I will try to begin again, to begin again, to begin, to live and love and breathe again. I cry because I'm happy and hold my friends like long-lost lovers. Be kind to me and love each other. The world keeps spinning on. It's all right, it's okay, we will get another day. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that we can, to begin again, to begin again, to begin, to learn and love and breathe again.
And now, please join me in helping us dedicate this offering. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
Good morning. My name is Marena McGregor, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am your Director of Religious Education. I want to start with a question, and you don't have to answer this question out loud. Think back to a moment when you did something for the very first time, and you had absolutely no idea what you were doing. Maybe it was moving into your first apartment, standing in an empty room wondering where everything goes. Maybe it was the drive to college or the drive home from dropping someone off at college. Maybe it was the first time you loved someone and didn't know if it was safe to say so. Or the first time a relationship ended and you had to figure out how to be a person again without them in the frame. Hold on to that moment for a second. Notice how it feels in your body as you remember, even now. That feeling, some mixture of terror and electricity, that's what today was about. Sol Cornell, who wrote this ritual that we're about to do, put it simply: there is no one universal young adult experience. Not everyone goes to college. Not everyone moves away. Not everyone falls in love in their 20s or breaks up and comes home again. But there's one thing that is universal, and that's change. Firsts, the jumping off point between who you were and who you're about to become. And here's what I want to say to the young adults in the room today and to the young adults that are still living inside of every one of us. No matter how many decades ago our own firsts happened, your firsts are holy. Not metaphorically holy, not we're gonna be nice about it holy, but they're actually sacred. Because a first is the moment that life asks you to become someone that you've never been before, with no rehearsal and no guarantee that it's going to go well. That takes a kind of courage that most of us don't get enough credit for. We don't have a lot of rituals for this stage of life. We have baby dedications, we have weddings, and then we have funerals. But that long, strange, in-between stretch of leaving your childhood home, choosing your first partner, ending your first relationship, figuring out who you are when nobody's assigning you a role anymore, most of us walk through that mostly unmarked, mostly feeling alone, and mostly quietly certain that we're the only ones doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. If you moved out and it didn't feel triumphant, if it felt like grief mixed with relief, mixed with this strange homesickness for a place that you were also glad to leave, that's not you failing to have the reaction that you were supposed to have. That's just what it actually feels like to lose something familiar while gaining something that you asked for. Both things can be true. If your first love ended and it broke something in you that hasn't fully knitted back together, that grief has a place here too. We're not just celebrating firsts that felt like triumphs. We are holding space for the firsts that felt like survival. Sometimes the most sacred thing about a beginning is simply that you made it through to the other side of it. And if you're in the middle of a first right now, still unpacking boxes, still learning the shape of a new city, still deciding whether to tell someone how you feel, still sitting with the ache of someone who used to answer your calls, you don't have to have it all figured out for it to count. You don't have to have made peace with it yet. You are allowed to be messy, and messy in the middle of your becoming, right here in this room, exactly as you are. In a few minutes, we are going to invite you to come forward and place a seed in a little pot. A seed doesn't know yet what it's going to become. It just sits in the dark, doing the only thing that it knows how to do, which is begin. It doesn't do this bravely. A seed doesn't really have a choice, but you do. You keep choosing to begin again and again, even without knowing how the story ends. That is not a small thing. That is, I think, one of the bravest things that a person can do. So as you think about what seed you will place in that bowl today, whatever first it represents for you, whatever mixture of joy or fear or grief or hope that is tangled up inside of it, I want you to know that this congregation sees it. We are not just witnessing your transformation from a polite distance. We are telling you we've had our firsts too. We remember what it was to not know what we were doing, and we are so glad that you are here doing the hard, holy work of becoming in front of people who will hold you through it. Your firsts are holy, and you are holy for living them. May it be so. Today we gather to celebrate firsts, those moments when something begins, a first step, a first love, a first day away from home, a first time saying yes to something new or goodbye to something familiar. Firsts are sacred. They mark the boundary between who we were and who we will be. Sometimes, you can put that down. Sometimes we move through them with joy, sometimes with fear, sometimes without realizing until much later that something new has begun.
No, it's working. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm every person's journey is sacred, like that of this microphone. We honor the unfolding of each life as a unique expression of truth and meaning. Our firsts are part of that unfolding. For young people, firsts can feel especially powerful as these moments help build the foundations of identity. But no matter our age, firsts continue to arrive. Life keeps inviting us to begin again every day, every moment.
Not every first is a joyful experience. Sometimes the celebration is less in the experience itself and more in the survival of it. These firsts are welcome here too, and just as worthy of being held and honored as those we meet gladly.
We have a pot, a vessel to hold our collective stories of new starts. We also have some seeds. Small things that carry within them the possibility of life.
Each seed begins in stillness, unseen beneath the surface, holding everything it needs to grow. Just like our beginnings, each carries mystery and promise, struggle and hope.
In a moment, all who want to honor a first in their lives will be invited to come forward and place a seed into the bowl. Yeah. It might be something big or something small. Something joyful or something uncertain, a new chapter, a change of heart, a step towards something meaningful.
For our online participants, if you would like to type your firsts into the chat, this community would love to celebrate, mourn, or simply be present with you.
As we add our seeds together, may this bowl become a symbol of our shared courage to begin again and again. May it remind us that each start, no matter how humble, contributes to the larger garden of our community and the unfolding of life itself. When you're ready, I invite you to come forward, take a seed, and add your beginning to the pot. If you cannot come forward or otherwise wish to stay seated, please raise your hand and I will come to you.
So now, each seed in these pots represent a beginning, something new that has taken root in our lives. Moments of courage, moments of change, steps towards growth, towards love, towards becoming more fully ourselves. Though each beginning is personal, together they form a garden, a living symbol of how our individual stories weave into the shared story of this community. May these seeds remind us that beginnings need care and patience, that growth is not always easy, but it is always sacred, and we are never alone as we begin again.
Now let us bless these firsts together, and in doing so, bless each other. For all the beginnings that fill this bowl,
We give thanks.
for the courage it takes to start something new,
We offer our blessing.
for the growth that will come in its own time,
We hold hope.
for all of our firsts and all of our nexts.
We begin again in love.
May it be so.
The words in this song are attributed to artist Paul Gauguin and were set to music by Canadian choral composer and musician Brian Tate. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, Where Do We Come From? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? All right, now is the fun part. You get to choose one of those 4 parts we just went over. Sing something different from your neighbor. It makes it more fun. And we're all going to sing together. And all 4 parts are beautifully on this slide, so you can choose and mix it up as you go. All right, here we go. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going?
We now extinguish our chalice, intentionally ending this particular flame, making room for the next, and ascending us forth into a new beginning. Thank you for blessing and honoring some of the firsts of our community today, holding and loving one another through transitions, be they in joy and excitement or in grief and sorrow. It is a sacred act. Not a single one of us came into this world alone, and we need not move through it alone either. The support of those whom we surround ourselves with is what makes our firsts possible and what encourages us to change in the first place. As you leave this space today, I invite you to think about who you are in your life and who might be experiencing something new right now, and how you might be able to remind them that they're not alone as you move through it. Something as small as some kind of kind words or some kind of encouragement or even just a hello can make the new and unfamiliar feel a little bit less scary. Go now in peace.
I've been waiting for a day like this to come, stuck like lightning. My heart is beating like a drum on the edge of something wonderful, face to face with changes. What's it all about? Life is crazy, but I know I can work it out, 'cause I got you and you live with me. I feel alright, I'm gonna take on the world, light up the stars, I've got some pages to turn. I'm singing, oh, 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 oh. I've got a ticket to the top of the sky. I'm coming up, I'm on the ride of my life. I'm singing, oh, 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 oh. Take on the world, take on the world, take on the world, take on the world. Puzzle pieces, throw them up in the air, taking chances. Moments happen everywhere, and I got you to live them with me. I feel alright, I'm gonna take on the world, light up the stars, I've got some pages to turn. I'm singing, oh, 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 oh. I've got a ticket to the top of the sky. I'm coming up, I'm on the ride of my life. I'm singing, oh, 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 oh. Take on the world, take on the world, take on the world, take on the world. Flying high, I won't look down. Let my fears fall to the ground. I feel alright, I'm gonna take on the world, light up the stars, I've got some pages to turn. I've got a ticket to the top of the sky. I'm coming up, I'm on the ride of my life. I feel alright, I'm gonna take on the world, light up the stars, I've got some pages to turn. I'm singing, oh, 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 oh. I've got a ticket to the top of